If you're looking at getting into film photography on a budget, then I think there's no better option than the Olympus OM10. Let's take a closer look why. Now there's many reasons why I think the OM10 is one of the best budget film cameras. I'll put a timeline on the bottom of the video so you can go to the bit that sounds most important to you. But essentially it's super easy to use, the lens selection is really good, the price is very affordable. It's got a manual adapter for if you're a beginner, you want to grow to actually use manual functions on the camera. The adapter will allow you to do that. And also it's super reliable. One of the most reliable cameras, especially for its age. Film photography can be a daunting thing. It's not like digital photography where you can potentially take 1,000 photos during a day and then just pick which ones are best. With this you get 24 or 36 exposures per roll, and each time you press that shutter button it's going to cost you money. Now because of that, the Olympus OM10 is a great way to save money. And that's because it's so easy to use. Looking at the top here, you notice a general lack of controls. You've got the on and off switch along with a self timer, the hot shoe, your film speed setting, the shutter button itself, and the film advance lever. This means all you have to do is set the aperture, focus on your subject, and then press the shutter button. It's really only one step more than a point and shoot like this. Now you could argue that using a camera like this, a Praktica MTL3, which is fully manual, might be a better way into film photography because it teaches you the manual ways of using the camera. However, I'll cover that a little later in the video. So the second reason why I think the OM10 is the best budget film camera is the lens selection. Now there's over 50 lenses in everything from an 8mm fisheye lens up to a 1000mm super telephoto. I tell you from experience, the 50mm f1.8 kit lens is incredibly sharp, has great contrast and really renders colours nicely. And the same can be said for the 28mm lens. It's a 28mm f3.5, so it's not the fastest in the world, but again, super sharp. Reason number 3 is pricing. The OM10 can be found for between £50 and £70 for one that is in relatively good condition. These are still like 30 to 40-year-old cameras, so you know they're not going to be perfect, they're not going to be absolute mint box condition, but they're going to be pretty good. My one here, it's got a tiny bit of paint missing on the edge, and that's about it. Other than that, it's pretty much perfect. So 50 to 70 pounds, I paid about 45 for mine, but that was a few years ago. All the lenses are quite reasonably priced as well. This 50mm kit lens can go anywhere between 20 and 40 pounds for one in quite good condition. Obviously mint condition ones will have a bit of a premium, but very reasonable nonetheless. This 28mm wide angle, it goes for a little more, around 60 to 70 pounds for one in good condition. You can find them for less, but they're a little bit beaten up. And this lens, this one is a bit of a shocker really. I got this for £6. It's not quite as good as the Olympus lenses, but for £6, that's the price of a couple coffees. So the OM10 sells for about half the price of the OM1. You look at them, you think they're fairly similar cameras. There is one thing the OM1 has over the OM10. It has slightly better build quality, but that aside, it has fully manual options as well. Full manual control to let you do whatever you want with your photos. The OM10 doesn't offer you that. But that's where the next point comes in. I bought this manual adapter for £10 on eBay, and this tiny device plugs into the OM10. This gives you control over your shutter speed. Everything in f-stop intervals from 1 second all the way to 1/1000th of a second. This allows you to unlock so much more potential in the camera and also in your own creative vision. Last but definitely not least is the reliability. The OM10, in my experience, has been flawless. I've never had a photo taken where the shutter or the mirror is obscuring part of the photo. In comparison, this is my Praktica MTL3, technically my first film camera, and honestly it was just a nightmare. I got this and I was super excited. I took my first roll of film and half of them came back either black or with the shutter halfway through the image, ruining the image completely. That's why I really hold the Olympus in high regard, because you might be able to find this a little cheaper, but at the end of the day, what you want as a result of this is to have photos, and half the time this isn't giving me that, whereas the Olympus was. And that reliability goes for the light meter as well. Like I said, this camera is, without the manual adapter, fully automatic. You have no control over the shutter speed whatsoever, so you're really reliant on a good light meter to get very good photos. If your light meter is a little bit inaccurate, then your photos are either going to be overexposed or underexposed or completely white or completely black. So I find it hard to fault this camera. It's solid, it's reliable, it takes great photos, great lens selection, it's relatively affordable. Yeah, I struggle to think of any negatives about it, to be honest. But that's my opinion. Now I want to hear yours. If you've used the OM10 and you hate it, let me know. If you've used it and you love it, let me know. And if you've used a different budget camera which you think would be better than this, also let me know down in the comments. Well, you made it this far, so if you enjoyed the video, please go ahead, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. Thanks for watching.